Hello, good evening. I'm Ajit Kumar Jha, the editor of the Public Global and the CEO of Power Pixar. And today I want to start with Prime Minister's Madhuvani speech on 24th of April, just 2 days ago. Prime Minister Modi was in Madhubani, and he had to change his speech in Madhubani. He had actually come to Madhubani to basically speak on the Panchayati Raj because it was dedicated to, it was the Panchayati Raj Day. And Modi was going to focus on the problems connected with agriculture because Madhubani is a typical sort of North Bihar agrarian district. There are hardly any industries there. It's a very poor region. And this is, in a way, I would consider it an election speech. Basically, Bihar elections are going to be scheduled in October, November, and the campaign has already begun. Because remember, if the NDA government loses Bihar, it will be a slap on the face because they have been ruling Bihar. Nitish Kumar, the chief minister, has been ruling Bihar for almost 2 decades, the longest serving chief minister of Bihar. But let me come back to Prime Minister Modi. So he had to basically curtail his speech. He spoke in English because that same day news had come that the terrorists had attacked in Pahalgam, killing several terrorists. A few terrorists had attacked tourists in Pahalgam, killing more than 50. And it was quite shocking news. So Modi, who had prepared a speech for Bihar, basically ended up initially focusing in English on Pahalgam. And then, of course, he began his usual speech about how the Prime Minister has launched 13,480 crores of development programs in Madhubani, marking the National Panchayati Raj Day. But let me tell you that I was present in Madhubani at the same time as Prime Minister Modi, and I had driven all the way from Delhi via Uttar Pradesh and entered Bihar from Buxar. From Buxar, I had come to Ara, Chhapra, Muzaffarpur, and then Madhubani. And what I want to do is I want to focus on how politicians, including Prime Minister Modi and other politicians, they highlight sort of one aspect of the problem and they completely forget to even make a mention of the real problems faced by the people of Bihar. So I will talk about what Prime Minister Modi said in his speech when he talked about this development project worth 13,480 crore in Madhubani. But let me tell you what the real problems on the ground are first. The moment I entered Bihar, I came all the way from UP. I came in Uttar Pradesh. I came via the two massive road, the new development projects that has begun. One actually was started by Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav, and that was what we basically known as the Yamuna Expressway. So I came via the Yamuna Expressway until Lucknow, and then from Lucknow I came to Ghazipur by this latest scheme. What it has different names. Some people call it the Ganga Expressway, and so let's call it the Ganga Expressway or the Southern sort of express, the Purvanchal Expressway. So I came via that to Ghazipur. Now that was an entirely different experience, and maybe I'll make a video on that. But let me tell you what happened when I entered Bihar. The moment I entered Bihar at Buxar, and from Buxar, as I said, I went up to Ara, Chhapra, Muzaffarpur, I was I was totally helpless. I didn't know what to do. Over several lakhs of trucks was on the highway, and what were they doing? They were collecting sand from the river, from River Ganges. And this is what in Bihar, if you ask people, is known as the famous sand mafia. And they had parked the entire trucks on the road, and we could barely move. In fact, I entered Bihar at about 7 in the morning. I landed up in Muzaffarpur around 11 or 12 at midnight. And the reason was that between Buxar and Chhapra, the entire road was jammed, both sides. No vehicle was allowed to move. It was scorching weather, and no officials were there to help. And we had to literally crawl out of that. And then as I went ahead, the same day, it was a wedding day. This is a wedding season in Bihar. So by the time I entered Muzaffarpur, again, you see lots of trucks on the way. But what happened is most of these Baratis were dancing on the roads. And again, there are no alternative roads. These are really narrow roads, and no one comes to regulate the traffic. And again, for hours we were stuck. Now, this is one of the biggest problems of Bihar today, that even if Prime Minister makes tall claims of railways and the new sort of schemes in the railways and roadways, the truth is it is impossible to drive in Bihar. The roads are clogged. And they are so bad that I heard a popular story from the people that one of the deputy chief ministers was stuck on the roadways. So the authorities in Bihar and in Delhi are aware of this problem. But the prime minister did not even spend 1 minute on this serious problem that Bihar is facing. Now, let me tell you the problem when I landed in Madhubani. I landed in Madhubani about 3 days before the prime minister began his speech. And the trouble was that everyone was complaining about what they call the land survey in Bihar. The Nitish government has started, the Nitish government, by the way, has become famous for its surveys: caste survey, land survey, this survey, that survey. And the trouble with all these surveys are that all these surveys are nothing but ways of looting the public by the authorities. Now, what is this land survey? Imagine, let me tell you a little bit about it. The land survey, there are two surveys that have been done in the past. One was what they call the old land survey. This was between the year 1910 to 1917. Remember, 1917, before the Russian Revolution, before my fathers were even born. And the second land survey was done between 1970 to 1972. And the problem is, no one I have talked to, and I've talked to literally hundreds of people on the subject, no one has any record of either the old survey or the new survey. By the way, the old survey was done in a language which most people don't know. It was done in Kaithi, a language which was popular in Bihar those days. Now, it is impossible to track those records. It will take you months before you can get any work done. You have to first match what they call the khata and khesara numbers of each little plot that you own of the old survey and the new survey. And then you have to kind of get records out in this Kaithi script from the blocks. And then finally, you have to go to, for example, the nearest commissionary, which is Darbhanga. And from there, you have to get hold of the cadastral surveys, again done before 1917. And again, you have to put an application there. And for that, again, you have to spend money. So it's like, why should I or any Bihari or any farmer in Bihar or anyone who owns even 1 kattha of land, why should I be paying the government for the work that the government should be doing for the public? But it's an open loop. All these amines will charge you through your nose, otherwise they will not do the work. And every time they claim that for the last 4 years, this survey has been going on, that's a total lie. People have only been recently told about it. Suddenly, 31st March was thrown as the latest the latest day in Madhubani. By the time when you can submit your documents, and the truth is, majority of people haven't done anything because they are totally helpless. They are just caught in the hands of these amines who are looting. And these amines are government appointed. And if you talk to the amines on the side, they will tell you this money is going up all the way to the ministries, to the various civil servants that are involved. It's exactly the same problem that took place in Bihar when the so-called huge dams were built on Kosi and Kamala and the other rivers. All the money was looted by the engineers involved and the contractors involved, and the money ultimately went to the government. So the same thing is going on, and I am not the only one pointing this out. In fact, one of the contenders for the chief minister, Prashant Kishore, apparently I haven't heard his video, but he has pointed it out, and I am doing it to support and say that is what the truth is. And the prime minister in his long speech did not even mention that once. All he talked was what we call routine development schemes of Prime Minister Awas Yojana and one train that has been flagged from Jainagar to Patna, and how you can reach in 5 hours. But the truth is, I talked to the people about that, and they told me, sir, it's so expensive to buy a ticket in that train, so it's only meant for the rich, and the rich actually fly or drive, so it's a worthless project. So this is the trouble with the ground reality. When you come to Bihar, and by the way, it's a scorching summer already, and you go around and you actually see nothing, no development, no industry. Most of the rural schemes that have been launched are basically ways for the mukhias to make money. What they do is, whenever money comes, they sort of end up giving that money to their supporters, to their party guys, and most of these mukhias are from the ruling party, BJP or JDU, although technically the panchayat election is supposed to be party-less, but it's an open loot by the mukhias, by the amines, by the BDOs, by the various government officers. And Prime Minister Modi comes. He talks in English about what happened in Pahalgaon. What is he going to do? We don't know yet. He hasn't done much, except for here and there he has made some noises. At one time he would be talking about surgical strike. Now suddenly he's silent. No surgical strike, and tourists are being killed. And the problem, by the way, was started by the BJP government. In fact, there are more attacks today in Jammu since the time Kashmir has been removed from the state list and made a union territory. There has been several attacks in Jammu and now in Pahalgaon in Kashmir. And here in Bihar, total failure of the administration, total, I would call, government ineptitude by the ruling parties, total loot by the government officials going on. And you can just see it if you just move around Bihar. And the prime minister doesn't talk about it. All he talks about are his development scheme, and he'll talk about the fact that the makhana is a product from Bihar and how much the government has done for it. The truth is, I know several makhana farmers, and they tell me that the prices have shot up so much, they are not able to make any money or any profit out of it. In fact, they keep borrowing money, and the government has ordered, oh, okay, some of these makhana farmers will be given money, and they can start place where they can store makhanas, and the construction of those costs lakhs, 2.5 lakhs or 3 lakhs. None of the money has come to these people. All of them have borrowed from others. Why doesn't the government just build the damn makhana, the makhana storage sites for ordinary farmers? These are people who own barely 1 or 2 kattas of land, and I can name several. But the government is not bothered. There is no government help by the Nitish government, and the anger on the streets is palpable. Total anger, total failure, all big talk and nothing on the ground. And then Prime Minister talks about how the various. Let me just mention, because after all, the Prime Minister has talked. So he talks about how crores of rupees are being aimed at Bihar's development, and he has laid the foundation stone for several initiatives in electricity, railways, and infrastructure. The truth is, if you want to come from Delhi to any part of Bihar by railway, unless you buy the ticket several months in advance, it's impossible to get a ticket. And the truth is, the flights, because of this wedding season, it's impossible to get a flight at a reasonable rate. These so-called companies which end up giving you the tickets, a typical ticket from Delhi to Darbhanga might cost you more than 20,000, maybe 25, maybe 26,000, maybe 30,000 one way. Now imagine how many people from Bihar can afford 30,000 coming in, 30,000 going out, 60,000 to just come from Delhi to Darbhanga or Madhubani. And that is the reason I'm a journalist, a scribe, was forced to drive all the way from Delhi to Madhubani to get this land survey started. And when I came, I'm totally helpless. In this heat, I keep going to the block office. In my case, Rajnagar is the block office, and you cannot meet a single official there. Everyone is looting the public. They are only interested in that. You can't get anything done, and it's so complex, the subject of how to get a land survey done. As I pointed out, first phase, you have to get the old records, then the new records, the Kotak Khesaras, the size of the land measured, and every time you appoint a Amin, private or public, you have to pay through your nose. And all that is happening is that the Amins are making money, and the Amins and their officials on top. But no work is actually being done. So according to me, this entire campaign by Prime Minister Modi at Madhubani was a total failure. The governor of Bihar and several other ministers came with him. The entire roads were jammed again. I was trying to return from Jhanjharpur to Madhubani. I had to wait for several hours because the internet was not working. I don't know if the phone lines were jammed, and it was a total mess. All the people were saying, forget about, people were brought from all over to the Prime Minister's speech, but everyone I spoke to, they told me they were trying to get some, ceremony done, the marriage ceremony, some other ceremony done. And I asked them, weren't you bothered about the Prime Minister's speech? They told me, he says the same thing every time he comes here. So does other politicians from JDU and BJP. And the truth is, come and see what's going on the ground. Total helplessness, no work, no development work. The road, by the way, let me point out specifically, if the Prime Minister wants, he can get it examined. The road from my village, Koilak, to the block development headquarters at Rajnagar, it's a barely 6 or 7 kilometers. It will take you hours to reach. and the road is much more broken than it was ever broken under Lalu Yadav's so-called Jungle Raj. If you can drive through that stretch from the village Koilak to the block development of Rajnagar, it will be a miracle because the entire road is thoroughly broken. And if one vehicle comes from one side, if another vehicle on the other side, the vehicles fall down. Totally broken roads. Absolutely looks like as if a war has taken place there and the entire thing is bombed out of shape. And that's in the neighborhood. The Prime Minister was giving the long speech talking about development. The truth is, it is all development of the BJP and the JDU, the ruling parties, and total underdevelopment of Bihar. That is the story. I'm going to focus more on this as the campaign picks up, because when I started working on the campaign of Bihar, I had a different tone. But the moment I entered Bihar, like an old-time reporter, I saw the truth, and I'm telling you, aankho dekha hal. Thank you very much, and you'll look forward to many more such speeches, many more such programs in the future. Thank you.